Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will examine the features of two extinct hominin species, Australopithecus afarensis and Australopithecus africanus. Australopithecus afarensis is one of the most famous early human ancestors. This species lived between 3.9 and 2.9 million years ago in eastern Africa, mainly in modern-day Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Kenya. It plays a central role in the human evolutionary story because it combined both features of apes and human-like traits, showing a transitional stage between earlier primates and the genus Homo. The most famous fossil of Australopithecus afarensis is Lucy, discovered in 1974 at Hador, Ethiopia, by Donald Johansen and his team. Lucy's scientific name, Australopithecus afarensis, means southern ape from afar, after the Afar region of Ethiopia. Lucy was named after the Beatles' song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which was playing during the excavation celebration. Lucy was about 40% complete, an extraordinary find in paleoanthropology. Other major fossil sites include Latoli in Tanzania, famous for the preserved fossilized footprints, which provide direct evidence of early bipedal walking. Australopithecus afarensis individuals were relatively small. Females averaged around 105 centimeters tall and weighed about 30 kilograms, while males stood about 150 centimeters tall and weighed around 45 kilograms. This shows a high degree of sexual dimorphism. Their brain size was about 375 to 550 cubic centimeters, only slightly larger than that of modern chimpanzees, and much smaller than modern humans. The face was prognathic, meaning it projected forward, with a low forehead and strong brow ridges. The dental structure was intermediate, with smaller canines than those of apes, but larger molars, suited for chewing tough plant material. This suggests a varied diet. Afarensis was a biped, but retained traits for climbing. Their pelvis, femur, and knee joints clearly indicate upright walking. However, their long arms, curved fingers, and flexible shoulder joints suggest they still spent time in trees, perhaps for safety or sleeping. Most likely, afarensis were omnivorous, eating fruits, leaves, nuts, seeds, and possibly small animals, where patterns on teeth and isotope studies suggest a mix of woodland and grassland diets. Based on sexual dimorphism and comparisons with primates, some researchers propose a multi-male multi-female group structure, though exact social behaviors remain speculative. There is no confirmed evidence that afarensis made tools. However, some cut-marked bones, dated to 3.4 million years ago, in Ethiopia, suggest they may have used simple stone tools or sharp-edged rocks, pushing back the timeline of tool use before the genus Homo. Now, let's examine another Australopithecus species, called Australopithecus africanus. Australopithecus africanus lived between 3.3 and 2.1 million years ago, primarily in South Africa. This species is especially important because it was the first Australopithecus ever discovered, and helped establish Africa as the cradle of human evolution. Like afarensis, it combined features of both apes and humans. It demonstrated several key advancements, particularly in brain size, dentition, and bipedal adaptations. The first africanus fossil, known as the Tong child, was discovered in 1924 by quarry workers in Tong, South Africa, and described by anatomist Raymond Dart. The Tong child was approximately 3 to 4 years old when it died, and the preservation of its face and brain endocast provided unprecedented insight into early hominin anatomy. Raymond Dart's discovery was controversial at the time because it challenged the prevailing belief that human ancestors originated in Asia. Africanus fossils are mostly found in limestone caves, where individuals likely fell in or were dragged by predators, leading to excellent fossil preservation. Adults were small-bodied, standing around 1.2 to 1.4 meters tall, and weighing 30 to 40 kilograms. Sexual dimorphism was present, but less pronounced than in afarensis. The cranial capacity was about 420 to 500 cubic centimeters. Slightly larger than that of afarensis, but still much smaller than that of modern humans. Africanus had a more rounded skull and less pronounced brow ridges compared to afarensis. The face was still somewhat prognathic, but less so than in earlier species. The teeth exhibit human-like features, including smaller front teeth and larger molars, which are adapted for chewing tough foods. The dental arcade was more parabolic and human-like than the U-shaped arc of apes. Africanus most likely had an omnivorous diet, including fruits, leaves, tubers, seeds, and possibly insects or small animals. Dental wear patterns and isotopic evidence suggest a broad, flexible diet, which may have aided survival in variable environments. Based on fossil evidence and sexual dimorphism, groups may have resembled modern primate social structures, possibly multi-male, multi-female communities. There is no direct evidence of toolmaking, but fossils associated with bones and stones at sites suggest they may have used natural objects as tools. True stone toolmaking is generally associated with later species, such as Homo habilis. The structure of the pelvis, leg bones, and the position of the foramen magnum all point to habitual upright walking. Yet, adaptations for climbing remained, reinforcing that Africanus lived in a mixed environment of savannas and woodlands. Australopithecus africanus represents an important step forward in the story of human evolution. With a slightly larger brain, more human-like teeth, and clear adaptations for upright walking, this species bridges the gap between earlier Australopithecus forms and the emergence of the genus Homo. Its discovery not only shaped scientific understanding, but also confirmed Africa as the birthplace of humanity. Thanks for watching this episode on human evolution. See you soon with another educational video. Until then, happy learning.